Ramblin Man here. All right, so if you pay attention to the news, which some people get tired of it, and after a while, I understand. So they got to take a break. But I know that they announced that Governor DeSantis. So this is the governor in Florida, if you're not familiar. But he's the one that's done all these other things that people that are Republicans or from Florida, most of the Floridians and things are behind him 100%. He's done a lot of good things, in my opinion. Now, he put a bill in place that would penalize or make it illegal for social media to ban politicians or their speech, basically, right? So basically what he's saying is we should have freedom of speech, and if we're not going to, then, I mean, if you're allowed to say one thing on social media, then you should be allowed to say another thing on social media. I mean, it is a speech platform, right? But what's happened is, and this is, I just wanted to throw that out there about DeSantis ruling on that, just to get into this. When it comes to speech on platforms, like you have Instagram, and you have TikTok, you have YouTube, you have Facebook. I mean, there's tons of, you have Marco Polo, you got all kinds of weird stuff, right? You can just say whatever you want to. You have Twitter. Now, what I think is great is the fact that someone's starting to take a stance for it. Because here's the problem. So we're supposed to have freedom of speech in the U.S. Now, if you can say one thing, you know, all the time on Facebook, people can say whatever they wanted about Trump, right? But as soon as you start saying something about Biden, oh man, the fact checkers come out. And that is the honest truth. That's not you can fact check that if you want to, Jack. Go ahead, fact check that. But here's the thing. When it comes down to it, you don't have to be fact checked for every single thing on there. This is not when you're talking about on Facebook, this is not a platform of like Encyclopedia Britannica. It's not. I mean, I understand Wikipedia. If you go in there like, oh, that's not true facts. You should be able to say whatever you want to say. I mean, now there are things like, you know, you shouldn't be threatening people beyond like jokes, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. What a viable threat is. But you shouldn't be naked on there, and that's places for that. Like, you know, they have porn sites and they have OnlyFans and things like that, right? You can get those kind of pages if you want to be naked. But just to fact check someone or ban someone, like the other day, I put a post on Facebook and it told me that I couldn't say that anymore, or I may be banned for a week or something. I don't remember, but people talk about all the time being in Facebook jail, okay? And I push the envelope sometimes, but you know what? Who doesn't? Here's the thing. If I make a joke and a fact checker checks it, and these fact checkers, who knows what they're getting paid? Probably minimum wage. They're checking this stuff and like, oh, that sounds terrible. This is not true. Yeah, it's not true. It's a freaking joke. And it may be true, it's just not a fact, right? Like, because some of our opinions turn out to be true, like, you know, Biden is a dumbass. Oh, it turns out that's true, okay? That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be careful what you do on Facebook, because you can't even voice your opinion. Opinions, apparently, are only allowed if it agrees with, well, it says community standards, but I think it should be called the Democratic Community Standards, because that's what it comes down to. So, fact checkers, I'm about tired of fact checkers. So, this little move by Governor DeSantis, it's going to stir up all kinds of legal issues. But I'm happy for it. I'm glad somebody's standing up for it. Because if we have in our Constitution to have freedom of speech, people can stand on the side of this road and yell things all day. Like, they could yell all day that Trump's a racist, which is not true, but they can yell it all day. But if you put it on Facebook, they're okay with that. You say Biden's a racist, that's not true. That's a fact check. See, I'm saying it should go both ways. If you're going to have freedom of speech, you have freedom of speech. Not freedom of speech as long as we're okay with it. None of that crap. So, making it illegal for them to ban politicians or others to say what they want to say, awesome. Because that way you wouldn't have Trump over here kicked off of Twitter and Facebook. He can't say anything. And the whole reason why is because they know as soon as he says something, people will be like, yeah. Because whether you like Trump or not, I'm not even a Trump fan, okay? But as far as what he did as a president, I'm a fan of that. I think he did really good on a lot of different things. And the part that's hard for people is when you have someone like that jumps on and he's like a leader. He's a leader. He's used to doing business. He knows how to get people to do what he wants them to do. And the other part of that is when, he has this thing that he says, they're coming after you and I'm what's standing in the way, which is true. That is a truth, okay? Not a fact, but it's a truth, which you'll find out through my opinion that it will be a fact. That anytime he's there, if he's in the spotlight, he's able to say things. He can say whatever he wants to, and people are going to be like, yes, all behind him. And the Democrats want to keep you from thinking that, there's any way that there's no way that Trump's going to get back in office. There's no way Trump's going to come back from this. There's no way that he's already has been and done. But the problem is, if that were the case, if they weren't really scared of him, why ban him from all these different places? Because they are scared that he will say a few things that are true. Some things he says that are off the wall, but let's be honest, like he'll say enough things that are true that people are going to be like, wow, and get behind him 100%. Which, here's the thing, it doesn't matter if you're behind Trump or not. All that matters right now is that Biden is not doing a good job. Now, if you look at some of the different, what do you call it? Sorry guys, my camera is giving me issues here. If you look at some of the polls going on, there's one from Harvard and Harris, I guess it is, Harvard University and Harris. I'm trying to figure out who they polled. It's like they polled like 1,400 people. And they said, well, we polled 1,400 people, and that represents the demographics. All right, let's be honest. You're probably not down here in Texas going, hey, guys, we want to go poll in Texas and see what they think about things. Because if that were the case, let's be honest. It depends where you poll. It really does. It says online, but let's be honest. Most Texans or people from Arizona stuff are not looking at the Harvard sites to get on there to be on their poll. So who are they really polling? So you can't give a lot of credit. Now look, overall satisfaction was at 57% when he took office, okay? And that's based off of the fact of with all the just him taking Trump's spot, right? And you had a lot of Democrats in there. Now what's happened is you had when I looked at this when it goes by party, okay, it stayed pretty consistent. Like I think Republicans were approving of Biden by 12%, and it's gone down to 8%, and it stayed 8% consistently. The problem with that is that on the Democratic side, when he first took office, when is it 57%? 98% approval rating from the Democrats of the ones polled. Okay, so like 1,500 people, right? But now it's at 92%. It's even the Democrats that are being polled are being like, okay, I'm having a hard time saying, yeah, he's done a great job now. So I'm just telling y'all, you need to make sure you're paying attention to what's going on right now. Because these polls, you can't go by a poll right now and think you have it figured out. Like, hey, this is how it's really going down. No, what's really happening is being hid from through the media and stuff. Like the polls, some of those are biased. Okay, Gallup, okay, yeah, it just really depends. You can't take them for gospel. Put it that way. It's more of an art, not a science. There's no science to it. Now, mathematically, people say, well, yeah, you do this many people, you're about to get this many. It depends where you're getting the information from, who these people you're polling. So, just putting it out there, I think it's time we start standing up for our freedom of speech. I'm tired of being muted by fact checkers. I posted something that had like a, you know how the Nazis had like a swastika they wore on their in their red band. Well, it had that, but instead of a swastika, it had a Facebook, like the F, and it had that on there, and it says fact checkers, you know, don't belong here, and or something like that. And it's so true though. I don't need somebody checking my facts, because if someone is dumb enough to believe the first thing they see without going to check those facts, whose fault is that other than the fact that they had a bad education? Or they're just weak-minded. Seriously. So tell me what y'all think, guys. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you tell me what you think, and what are your views on this? Do you really think that Biden's doing a good job? And what are your thoughts on speech? Shouldn't we be allowed to say whatever we want to say without being censored? It's in 1984. Or is it? Ramblin' Man out.